So, part 3. I wasn't anticipating this to be this long, but I'm still not even like halfway done with watering my plants. So we were just talking about this hypothetical Samantha person from work, and how this was a test of her reactions, of her self-worth. This whole me accidentally forgetting her name several times and then making a joke about it, but she thought it was serious. Anyway, go back and watch the video if that's what you want. But then, this other guy, who is also triggered by me today, but in a way that's more about his security, about his pragmatism. He was triggered into thinking, does he actually care about people? Or is he always just looking out for himself? And I can't answer that for him. I think he's probably going to be thinking about that a lot. That might be tonight. Maybe he shoves it out of his head tonight, I feel like. But it comes back later. He thinks I'm judging him for his reactions, or for his actions, or for the things he says. And really, I'm not. I'm just asking him how he feels about himself. Does he feel like he's a good person? And the answer was not confident. It was not super... It wasn't like, yeah, I'm a good person. It was, well, I think so. I think so. And I think it's because I'm feeling him wrestle with selfishness. And for the right people in his life, he would probably ride or die. But I don't think that's been tested. I don't think that he's been in a position before where he's had to decide to help somebody he loves, no matter what it does to him, no matter what it means for him. I don't think he's ever had to put his safety on the line for somebody else that he cares about. But he likes to think he would. But if it was a stranger and the odds were against him, I don't think he would act. And I think that's what he realized today. And that doesn't make him a bad person. Not everybody would go out of their way to save a stranger. That's why vigilantes exist. That's why vigilantes were born in the comic books, you know? Because they would help a stranger that was getting mugged in a dark alley when no common man would. That doesn't make him a bad person. But I don't think he knew that about himself until we talked about it. And I don't think that he realized he was so emotionally detached when he was making decisions. Because that's certainly what he learned. That when push comes to shove, and you have to make a decision about what you're going to do going forward, he said, I have to make the right decision for me in the moment. And what that means is, how will this negatively impact me? What will this cost me? Is this worth it? It's logic, not emotion. And I don't think he realized that there was a difference there. So, I think, and regardless of whether he changes behavior or tries to impact his decision-making process or become more open in the heart space, doesn't really matter. I think that what Spirit wanted us to do with this kid today was get him to think. Get him to think about how he makes these decisions. About what they actually mean. About, in a hypothetical situation, what would he do? This kid's a lot of impulse. It's a lot of impulsive nature in there. If I had to bet, I would say he's a fire sign, but I don't actually know. That's just a guess. So, that was the other half of that equation. And looking back now, I feel a little bit more confident in my part in all this. Because even if I did screw up and say the wrong thing, Spirit always gives me a chance to rectify that. If I say the wrong thing, Spirit always brings back another scenario, whether it's with that person or a new person, and they let me do it over. And that doesn't mean that you should just like say whatever you want because you have infinite tries. It means that when it comes back around, when that situation comes back around, you recognize that energy and you know to shift yours. To be something else for that person in that moment. Because there's a difference between going into that moment in order to highlight an insecurity and get them to think, and in order to put them in a mental prison. Because one is constructive and one is destructive. And I think maybe that's what Spirit wants us to know right now. That we understand our role, but we don't always understand what that specific action entails. In their mind, what is it doing? There was another girl that I started talking to about metabolism and blood circulation, and I don't know why we were talking about that, but I found out later that she had an eating disorder. And when she explained to me, because we started talking about metabolism and like things like that, I was asking her if it was a matter of like hard exercise or naturally fast metabolism, and she hesitated and then said a combination of both. And I knew something was up, but I didn't press. And then later on she copped to having an eating disorder that she's trying to manage. And that comes with a whole slew of insecurities and body dysmorphia and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know why I was talking about those things, but it brought up information that changes how I communicate with her in the future. How I address her habits, insecurities, how I address her in general. Because I know that it would be a trigger to talk about her weight, her body, or, frame anything that might trigger some kind of spiral. So we're being guided to take a close and hard look at the whys right now. Why is Spirit guiding you to say exactly what you're saying? Because you might have a message for someone. But what about giving that message is a lesson for you? I also had to come to the realization, because I was skipping people's on this days, I'm not even going to lie, I saw people, several readers that I watch regularly, and it's on this day, on this day, on this day, and I'm just swiping. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I saw them last year, I liked them last year, I gave them all of their emojis last year. And Spirit finally got me to stop and watch some of them. And they were relevant. And I knew that past readings became relevant again at a later date, because that's just how this works. But there was something impatient in me. And I'm being called to slow down and pay attention to what's coming across my algorithm. What is Spirit presenting you? Because maybe it is something you've seen before, but maybe it's something you need to see again. There is a reason for everything. And pattern recognition is necessary for this. Because Spirit's bringing this shit to you on level 100. And it's not just that, it's that we're processing emotion at like 100 miles per fucking hour. These things are coming up, getting felt, getting transmuted, and then we're moving past them faster than we can even make the videos, you know what I mean? And I think that's also an important thing to say right now. We're not getting stuck in energy. You are not getting stuck in energy. You are feeling, healing, transmuting, releasing, like we always do. So if you made it to the last minute of the third part, I'm proud of you. And I love you. And your root system is getting strong. That foundation, that is beautiful. I'm just thinking of this slight sway in the breeze, because this tree is what this is supposed to be. And ours is looking like kind of a pathetic excuse for a willow right now, but you know what? We love her. She's doing her best. She's growing. She's spreading her branches, and she's gaining thickness in the trunk, and there's so much in the process here that's beautiful and should be appreciated. Do not talk down on yourself now. You're so close.